Good afternoon or morning or whenever it is you're watching this video. As promised, I am making a video on how a bill becomes law in Texas. We've been talking about SB 1588, which is a Senate bill that was introduced and read and voted on and went to the governor and the governor signed it, and now it's law. And so a lot of people want to know, how does that even happen? How do we get to the point where we're at right now? So this happens periodically. Bills are not considered to amend, repeal, or add statutes to HOA law every single year. It kind of comes in chunks. So I think 2015 was a big year, 2011 was a big year. Not every single year will laws be introduced or bills be introduced affecting HOAs. How do we even get here? Bills can be written by the congressperson who wants to introduce the bill. They can be written by people outside of Congress, an interested third party. They're written and then they have to be introduced by a certain time in the legislative session. So there's a certain deadline that they have to then introduce the bill. Once it's introduced, then it gets read on the floor. And what that means is it basically someone just reads how the bill is written, and that's its first reading, and that's its, everybody gets notice of the bill and what it means and what it's asking for. Then a committee is appointed, and that committee only hears certain types of bills. So in the last legislative session, the Judicial and Civil Jurisprudence Committee in the House heard bills. The Business and Commerce Committee from the Senate heard HOA bills. Business and Industry from the House heard bills. Let's see, Senate State Affairs, and so on and so forth. So certain committees can only hear certain types of bills. And the committee chair determines when the committee will meet and what bills will be considered. And so if they don't want to consider a bill that a particular legislator introduced, it's not going to be heard. The chair also determines whether there's going to be a formal meeting, a public meeting, or a work session. So not every single committee will consider a bill in a public meeting. And I think there's different rules in regards to the House and the Senate and how that's determined if it has to be public or not. Then they issue a report, and then the bill, if it passes through all the calendar process, then it is considered on the floor and it's read again. So during the calendar process, it gets read a second time. Then on the floor, under floor consideration in the House and in the Senate, they debate on the floor that particular bill, so it gets read a third time. And then once that gets done and they vote, then it gets sent back to its originating chamber. So if the bill originated in the Senate, then it goes back to the Senate and they can vote and they can look at the bill and have a public forum. Once it's on the calendar and it gets considered by the other side and they look at the report and the debate and all the things that the other side said, and they will either amend it or agree to any amendments or change the bill. And if they all come to an agreement at that point, then it goes to the governor to be signed. It's a whole lot of debate and consideration and committee hearings, and so the public does get a right to discuss the bill, and especially in HOA bills. So I watched committee hearings. They're posted online for everybody to see the video. They're still posted even today. Like, you can go back and watch the hearings. They don't have it marked for each bill. Column, they'll say, SB 1588, we're going to be talking about, this bill. Is there anybody here to make a statement? There's nothing in the video that says, hey, if you want to listen to this particular section, go to this section. So it's hard. You have to listen to the whole thing, but it's I think it's incredibly interesting. But what I saw most is that a lot of people don't go. There were some attorneys that I saw. There were some that I recognize that I know. There was some people from the public. There were some people from management companies, but mainly people who work in the industry. I think you have to be put on a list. I've never gone up there and to Austin to talk. I've been practicing for about 5.5 years, and so I leave those discussions to attorneys that have been, doing this for a long time. But I believe that you have to be put on the list and you have to travel to Austin, and that can be really difficult for some people. I wonder if these sorts of discussions or these committee hearings can be held via Zoom. I wonder if they were during the pandemic. I wonder if they have public forums or allow public forums to talk about some of these issues outside of committee hearings. I don't know. I've never seen that before. This is the first legislative session I've actually went back and looked and watched committee hearings. So I hope that this was educational for you. I hope this gives you a kind of an idea of the process. It may not go in depth, but it sort of scratches the surface and hopefully gives you an idea of how it really works. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll have more videos posted soon. Thanks.
This video was created by the Law Office of Ashley Musselman, PLLC. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not legal advice. Thank you for watching.